He thought he had lost the love of his life. But what he never imagined was that the woman who helped him heal was the one who destroyed him in the first place. John met Mandy on a quiet, rainy afternoon in high school. It wasn't the kind of meeting you'd expect from a love story. No dramatic music, no slow motion, just a simple accident. Mandy's books slipped from her hands, scattering across the wet pavement, pages soaking in the rain. John, who had been walking past, immediately rushed over, dropping to his knees to help gather them. Their hands brushed for just a second, and somehow that moment lingered. Mandy laughed softly, brushing wet strands of hair away from her face. John stumbled over his words, nervous and unsure, but Mandy didn't mind. In fact, she liked that about him. He wasn't trying to impress her. He was just real. From that day on, they became inseparable. What started as shared notes and casual conversations slowly turned into something deeper. They spent afternoons studying together, evenings talking about their dreams, and nights falling asleep on the phone. John was quiet, thoughtful, and deeply loyal. Mandy was warm, lively, and full of light. They balanced each other perfectly. People around them noticed it too. Teachers would smile when they saw them together. Friends joked that they were already married. Even strangers could sense it, that rare, genuine connection. And over time, it became undeniable. They were in love. Not the loud, dramatic kind of love, but the steady, quiet kind that feels safe. The kind people spend their whole lives searching for. Their relationship only grew stronger after high school. While many young couples drift apart, John and Mandy held on even tighter. They supported each other through college, through uncertainty, through the pressure of figuring out life. They built something real, something lasting. Eventually, that love turned into marriage. It wasn't extravagant, no grand ballroom, no over-the-top celebration, just close family, a few friends, and vows that meant everything. John looked at Mandy like she was his entire world, and to him, she was. For a while, their life felt like a dream, until Jenny came along. Jenny entered Mandy's life during college. At first, she seemed like the perfect friend, confident, outgoing, charming, the kind of person who could walk into a room and instantly draw attention. Mandy admired her, trusted her, welcomed her completely. But there was something about Jenny that was easy to miss if you weren't paying attention. Her kindness felt calculated. Her compliments always had an edge, and her smiles never quite reached her eyes. Jenny took a particular interest in Mandy's relationship with John. She asked questions, a lot of questions. At first, they seemed harmless, curious even, but over time, they became something else, something sharper. "Don't you ever get bored?" she once asked casually. Mandy laughed it off. Bored? With John? No, never. Jenny tilted her head slightly, watching her. Same person since high school? No excitement? No mystery? I don't know how you do it. Mandy smiled, but something about the comment lingered longer than it should have. It was small, almost insignificant, but it planted a seed. That was how Jenny operated. She never attacked directly. She didn't need to. She planted thoughts, let them grow, and watched from the sidelines. At first, Mandy resisted. She defended John. She reminded herself of everything they had built together. But Jenny was persistent, always present, always whispering, "You deserve more. He's gotten too comfortable. What if he's not trying anymore?" Slowly, almost invisibly, things began to change. The turning point came on their anniversary. John had planned everything carefully. He wasn't flashy or extravagant, but he paid attention. He remembered the little things Mandy loved: quiet places, meaningful gestures, sincerity. He took her to a small, beautifully lit restaurant, nothing overly expensive, but intimate. And then he gave her a necklace. It wasn't the most luxurious piece of jewelry in the world, but he had saved for months to afford it. Every detail, chosen with love. Mandy smiled when she opened it. She really did. But later that night, she showed it to Jenny. And Jenny laughed. Not loudly, not obviously cruel, but enough. "That's it?" she said. Mandy hesitated. "He tried." Jenny shrugged. "Trying isn't the same as valuing you." That sentence stayed with Mandy. Long after the conversation ended, long after she went home, long after John fell asleep beside her, and for the first time, something didn't feel like enough. The arguments started soon after. At first, they were small, misunderstandings, miscommunication. But gradually, they grew. Mandy became more critical, more distant. John became confused, then frustrated, then desperate. "I don't understand what changed," he told her one night. "Maybe I did," Mandy replied coldly. But the truth was, she hadn't changed on her own. She had been changed, piece by piece, word by word. And Jenny watched it all unfold, patient, calculated, waiting. Because beneath her calm exterior was something far darker. Jenny wasn't just interfering in their relationship, she was jealous, deeply, painfully, dangerously jealous. She envied Mandy, not just for John, but for everything. The love, the stability, the certainty. Jenny had never had that, and instead of wanting to build her own, she wanted to take Mandy's apart. When her attempts to break them emotionally weren't enough, Jenny made a decision. A final one. She suggested a trip, just the two of them. A girl's getaway. Time to relax, to breathe, to clear Mandy's head. Mandy agreed. She thought she needed the space. She didn't know she was walking into a trap. The location was quiet, remote, beautiful in a way that felt almost too still, too silent. On the surface, everything seemed normal. They laughed, talked, took pictures, but underneath, Jenny was waiting for the right moment. It came one evening. The air was cold, the sky dark. They stood near a secluded area, far from anyone else. Mandy looked out, taking in the view. "I think I've been too hard on John," she admitted softly. "I want to fix things when I get back." Something in Jenny snapped. "You always choose him," she said. Mandy turned, confused. "What do you mean?" Jenny stepped closer. Her expression had changed. No warmth, no charm, just something cold. "You don't deserve that life," she said. Mandy's heart began to race. "Jenny, you're scaring me." But it was already too late. What happened next was quick, brutal, final. And just like that, Mandy was gone. But Jenny wasn't done. She needed a story, a believable one. She carefully constructed it, planted evidence, created messages, built a narrative that painted Mandy as someone unfaithful, someone living a double life. When the news reached John, it shattered him. Not just the loss, but the betrayal. Or at least what he believed was betrayal. "She wouldn't do that," he kept repeating, over and over, as if saying it enough times would make it true. But the evidence said otherwise. And grief, mixed with doubt, is a dangerous thing. That's when Jenny stepped in, comforting him, supporting him, being the shoulder he cried on, the voice that reassured him, the presence that never left. And in his weakest moment, John held on to her. Time passed, slowly, painfully, and eventually, something unexpected happened. John began to heal, and Jenny was right there to guide that healing. 2 years later, they got married. To everyone else, it felt wrong, too fast, too strange. Mandy's family was furious. "How could you?" her mother demanded. "That woman was her friend." But John didn't see it that way. "She was there for me when no one else was," he said. And maybe, in a way, that was true. Years passed. Life moved forward. John and Jenny built a life together. They had a daughter, a beautiful little girl who became the center of John's world. For a while, it felt like happiness had returned. But the past has a way of resurfacing. It started with something small, something easy to overlook. A document, a message, a detail that didn't quite add up. At first, John ignored it, but then more inconsistencies appeared, until eventually he couldn't ignore it anymore. Piece by piece, the truth revealed itself, and when it finally did, it was worse than anything he could have imagined. Jenny hadn't just been there after Mandy's death. She had caused it. The woman he loved, the woman he trusted, the woman he built a new life with, was the one who destroyed his first. When he confronted her, she didn't deny it.
"You finally figured it out," she said calmly. John felt his world collapse all over again. "You killed her," he whispered. Jenny didn't flinch. "She didn't deserve you," she replied. That moment broke something inside him completely. The shock, the betrayal, the weight of it all was too much. His body gave in, and he collapsed. A stroke. When he woke up, everything had changed. He was alive, but not whole. Partially paralyzed, struggling to speak, trapped in a reality he couldn't escape. And beside him sat Jenny, still there, still calm, still watching. "You're still mine," she whispered. And for the first time, John understood the full truth. He hadn't escaped tragedy. He had been living inside it. For 10 years, he lost his first wife to murder, and his second to the truth. And now he lives with both. If this story shocked you, imagine living it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if it was you, would you have suspected Jenny?